everyone out there in the interwebs. It is your favorite two sports handicappers, Raphael Esparza and myself, Robert Ferringo of Doc Sports. I know that you missed us, all of you that followed along with our college basketball hoops extravaganza and honestly cleaned up with our free picks and just our insight in those videos. Well, we're back. We're going to be back bringing you some MLB breakdowns during the summer. We're looking to do this twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays, and break down some series plays, some free picks, and basically just all the comings and goings on the diamond. Raphael Esparza, who right now, by the way, is one of the hottest handicappers on the planet in the NBA. I don't know what you and Doc Sports Handicapper have been eating and drinking lately, but you guys are just demolishing the NBA playoffs. Raphael, is some of that going to rub off with your MLB service?
I hope so, because I got the dartboard ready to go for Major League Baseball, because that's what I'm doing in the NBA, just, throw a dart, and that's how it goes. But we started finally figuring out some baseball stuff. I mean, some of the baseball we've seen has been awful. Some of the we'll probably dive into that. It's just some teams, I guess, can't believe how bad they started off. The White Sox, how hot the Mets have been, the Yankees have been. So it should be interesting. And baseball's a long season. I hate when people are like, oh, you're the worst baseball handicapper in the world. Last time I checked, it's May 2nd. Last time I checked, baseball doesn't end until like October. So just hold your horses, people. If you start off slow, you got all summer long to redeem yourself and get on a nice streak. We're cruising right now in some sports, so hopefully we can go into that.
Yeah, I think April baseball is brutal to handicap. And I normally love the first month of every sport, football, college basketball, NBA. You do your research, you really deep dive. I always feel really well prepared for all sports, ready to hit the ground running. I think, the books are often really slow to react early in the season. Except for baseball. I think baseball, that opening month is just such a crapshoot. You have teams that are going to go on to win 105 games that are below 500 in April or playing poorly. So it's tough. But you know what? The calendar has changed into May. We're into month 2. And let's get started with the hottest team in baseball right now, and that's the New York Yankees. Now, Raphael, I think I've told you about my superpower in the past, right? The kiss of life. That once I start ragging on a team, all right, they instantly start to overperform. Legit ass superpower. Back on Easter Sunday, I remember texting out to a group of my friends that the Yankees were absolutely awful. They lost 5-0 that day to lose a series to the Baltimore Orioles. They were not playing well. Well, the kiss of life has kicked in. They are 11-1 in their last 12 games. They've won 9 straight. They are favored today against the Blue Jays. What are you looking at in this series, and what are you looking at when you see the Yankees?
Who'd have thought today's pitching matchup would be really, really good with Jordan Montgomery and Ross Stripling? I mean, Montgomery, even though his record doesn't show anything, but he's pitched well his last 4 outings. All 4 straight games have gone under. The Yankee bats, and I'm going to say this, the Yankee bats have been silenced when he's been on the mound. They don't give him any run support, so it should be interesting tonight. I'm really excited to watch this pitching matchup. And the Yankees, they're winning games, not because of their offense, but their starting pitching has been really, really good, and their bullpen has been surprisingly well as well. Now, is Rizzo going to lead the American League in home runs this year? Probably not. He'll cool off. Is Judge going to stay healthy for the whole season? Probably not. So hold your horses on the cross classic with the Mets and Yankees, both starting off hot. But I think I'm really excited for tonight's pitching matchup. Whoever wins this game can maybe go up 2-0, because tomorrow's pitching matchup is really not that exciting for the matchup. So I think today's game is going to be big for this series, because I think these two teams are going to battle for the division.
All right, you're a former sports book manager, director. Did that for over 10 years at some of the biggest books in Las Vegas. Put your sports book, odds maker hat on for me here and explain this. The Yankees are favored today. They're around -115, -120, depending on where you look. But for the series, they are still underdogs for the series. The Yankees series price over at my book is +100 for them to win this series. And Toronto is at -120. So can you explain that one to me?
I just think it goes off to I think Wednesday started with Kiki again versus Cortez. Let's say if it's split 1-1 in that one, you're gonna look at that Wednesday's pitching matchup and say, hey, the Blue Jays gonna be at home, better pitching matchup and stuff like that. So if it evens out the series on Wednesday, I can't remember. Do these two teams play on Thursday? Is there a 4 game series or a 3 game
No,
series?
this is
Yes.
only a 3 game set. And to your point, Nestor Cortez has been one of those Yankees pitchers that's kind of come out of nowhere and been amazing. He's got a 1.31 ERA, 0.87 WHIP, where Kikuchi, he's been terrible. He's got a 5.52 ERA and a 1.91 WHIP. The guy has only had one season in the majors where he's been had an ERA below 5. And if he couldn't put up good numbers pitching out in Seattle in what is very much a pitcher-friendly park, I think this guy really just stinks. So it really just seems like the books kind of missed that one. Now, I want to get your opinion on another thing with this series. Do you bet against the streak? Okay, that's an old thing in gambling, right? You don't bet against the streak, right? So for today's play, it should be kind of Yankees or nothing. Do you agree with that?
I like the Yankees in the series just because of the way they've been hitting, the way they've been pitching. And the Blue Jays have started off slow in hitting. Bichette has not been rocking. I mean, Guerrero's been hitting the ball kind of nicely, and they're putting up some runs. But they started off ice cold for the whole month of April, especially some of those studs. So they're starting to hit. But I'm sorry, you said it before. 11-1 the Yankees, 9 straight wins. Why did you fade the streak? It's either Yankees for me in tonight's game or the series or nothing, because I'm not betting against the streak unless that streak tells me something different. So for me, Yankees today. I didn't play the Yankees today, but if it's Yankees in the series, for me.
All right, I want to leave this series with one final thought. Okay, the Yankees have been very impressive over the last couple of weeks. We touched on it, 9 in a row, 11-1. Those wins during this 11-1 run have come against the Tigers, the Indians, the Orioles, and the Royals. Okay? Toronto's 7-3 in their last 10. They played 7 games, I think, against Houston and 3 against Boston. So Toronto's been playing well against quality competition. The Yankees have been beating up on a bunch of losers. Okay, so like you said before, let's not move the Yankees too far up the power rankings too quickly. They're on a good rush right now. Most teams in Major League Baseball will go on a 6 or 7 game winning streak at some point during the season. The Yankees are just having theirs right now. But again, let's take a step back and look at the quality of competition that they're beating, and that 11-1 becomes a little bit less impressive. Now, a team that has been nothing but impressive to start the season is the New York Mets. Raphael, my Metis. Well, what's going on here? They have a big series with Atlanta. Now, it is critical to know if you are going to play the series price, this is a 4-game series. There's a doubleheader that they are going to play on Tuesday. The Mets are the Mets are minus 120 as a series price. The Braves are plus 100 to win the series price. Tough to bet on a 4-game series price because the team has to win 3 out of 4, especially when you have teams that are kind of equivalent in talent. Raphael, which are you putting more stock in the long term with these teams? Atlanta's slow start or New York's outstanding start?
I'm going to probably say Atlanta. They got Acuna back. I mean, he's probably not 100%, but what he's looked so far, I mean, the energy he's bringing to the dugout, and I think that's going to be plus. I just don't trust Mets injuries. I mean, they've always had pitching injury. We haven't even seen DeGrom. Scherzer going to last the whole season. So I would have to probably say stock on the Braves, even though the Mets have been lights out right now. Probably my biggest surprise team right now, even though they've had the players and they got the names back there. But I didn't think they would be this hot coming in here. Really excited for a doubleheader game 1 tomorrow with Charlie Morton on the mound versus Carrasco. I think that's going to be a great game. What a way to start off your afternoon to watch a great pitching matchup. I can't wait to watch that one. So, yeah, I agree with you. If you bet series prices, when there's a doubleheader in a series price, I'm sorry, even though you could get plus money on great value, just pass off because you just said it's so hard to win on a 4-game series. You're better off just betting the 4 games because maybe if your team looked really bad in game 1 and they used a whole bunch of pitchers from the bullpen in game 1, you can maybe redeem yourself and bet the other side in game 2 instead of betting that series price, hoping you're going to win 3 out of 4. But if there's a doubleheader in that series price, I always tell bettors, pass it. Don't. It's hard to win a series price when there's a doubleheader, because now you have to look at bullpens, how they're using their bullpens for the whole four game series. That's just a hard ticket to cast. But really excited to watch the series because, again, Mets, my biggest number one surprising team right now.
I agree with you 100% on the Mets that we're surprised at just how well they've started. They have players, they have a good team, so it's not surprising that they've gotten off to a positive start, but just how well they've played is a little bit surprising. I also 100% agree with you that these are the Mets, so let's not buy in too early, okay? I've been a Mets fan all my life, since 1986 as a 7-year-old kid watching them win the World Series. So I've seen enough Mets to know that you're usually headed for the cliff, okay? Now, I am going to 100% disagree with you on Atlanta, okay? I live down in Atlanta, follow the Braves very closely just because there's a lot of Braves fans around me. I'm not surprised by their struggles, and I think this team has some issues. I really do. Yes, they've been without Ronald Acuna, okay? Having him back, he's a top 10 player in Major League Baseball. Having him back is definitely going to help. But to your point, he's probably not going to be 100% for a couple of months. It's going to take a little bit to get that timing back, to get back to being one of the top 10 players in the league. And that's where they need him at because they no longer have their foundational player in Freddie Freeman. Okay, so they've lost really a little bit of their identity. They're having a letdown, which is natural after a team wins the World Series. It's tough to come back and get up for April baseball when the last time you guys were playing, you're playing for a championship. You see that a lot in sports, that teams that win the Super Bowl start off slow, or teams that win the NBA championship start off slow. So I'm not surprised by that. But again, I think that we got to be realistic about who the Braves were last year, right? They were a pretty good team that got hot at the right time. And they just were on fire through October baseball and played great. But they weren't a great team. And I think we're seeing a little bit more of that this year where they're kind of finding their level. All right, it's not October anymore. It's a whole new season. And I think that the Braves are going to be a tough team to bat and back because their expectations are not where their talent level is right now. They're hitting 229 as a team. They're 4-6 in their last 10. They just haven't looked good. So
I do like the Olsen. I do look at what Olsen's bringing in. He's hitting 290. I mean, he's not. They're not missing that heart and soul that bad on a lineup. Maybe in the locker room, maybe in the dugout, they're missing the heart and soul. But Olsen's been good. And the way Demetrius has been hitting the ball and right field, I can't think of his first name. I like their lineup is not bad. I think they get hot. I think they're going to get quality, and they're going to make a trade if they're in a hunt during a trade deadline.
Oh, sure. They have one of the best farm systems in baseball. And again, I agree with you. I like Matt Olson as a player. I like his long-term potential with the team, and his production has been there. But Freddie Freeman was the guy for that entire organization. You don't just replace Freddie Freeman overnight. I think that's one of those things that could linger. And if Acuna doesn't come back immediately to the level that he was, then all of a sudden there's some holes in that lineup, and guys just aren't hitting the ball. So the third series that I wanted to talk to, maybe not on a lot of people's radar, but I think is a really interesting one, and that's Seattle at Houston. Okay, the Mariners did not have a good trip in Florida last week. They went 2-4 against Miami and Tampa Bay. But prior to that, they've been playing very quietly some very good baseball. Their series price, they were plus 155 to win this 3-game series against Houston. Houston minus 185, Raphael. It seems a little bit steep for a team that has started the season 11-11. They're just a 500 ball club.
Yeah, they're not winning games at home. Granted, they haven't played that many games at home, but they're under 500 at home right now. And I know, again, it's May 2nd. We're going to be doing these videos all baseball long. But when you think of the Astros at home, you think of W's. It's a really hard place to steal a road game there, and they're not winning at home. So I think that's the big reason. Their pitching has not been that bad, but their bullpen, especially their middle relief, can't control the ball. A lot of walks coming out of that middle of the bullpen. I think Houston will be there, but I'm sorry. I think the Mariners are going to be up there. And if the Angels can get hitting from guys besides Ohtani and Trout, that's going to be a very, very dangerous team. Because you figure if they're going to be in a hunt, they'll probably make some trades to try to get some pitcher to try to help Thor and those other guys in that starting rotation. But I like the Mariners. I would buy stock in the Mariners right now before I buy stock in Houston.
Yeah, that was going to be kind of my question is what is your long-term handicapping perspective on Houston? Is this going to be a team that you're looking to bet against because they still have some big name pitchers, they still have some big names in the lineup, but everybody on that roster, it seems like, or the majority of the guys, not everybody, they have some good young talent, but the majority of the guys seem like they're on the back nine of their career. So the way the public looks at the Astros and what they've been over the last 5 or 6 years, and the way that they're being priced by the sports books isn't really reflective of what we're seeing on the field. So is this a team that you should bet against, stay away from, or look to bet on, kind of in the big picture of things?
I would say probably a little bit of all three. Now, Houston, money's always going to be piled in on Houston because what we've seen in years past, they've always been a heavy bet team, probably in the past 5 to 6 years, because they've been one of the best teams the past 5 or 6 years. So it doesn't matter. Just like tickets coming in on Chicago Cubs, I always say this: tickets will always be written on Chicago Cubs. They can have the worst team in the league, which they probably do right now. But if that game's on WGN, or if that game's the only afternoon game, if that team's been in the playoffs for so long, money is going to come in on that team. That's what we're seeing the Houston Astros. Money is going to be continuing on that team because they've been a well-known team in the playoffs, winning cheating championships. So I think that's why, for me, I'm probably going to look to fade, especially if I can get a really, really good price at them at home. Against a quality pitcher that I might have, I might take the plus money because I have not been sold on how they've been playing at home this year.
Yeah, I think it's great value on the series price on Seattle in this game. They're 25.
I agree.
Mariners are 25-10 in their last 35 divisional games, and to get around plus 150, plus 160 on them to take 2 out of 3, I think that's outstanding value for a team that I think has been playing pretty well. As far as Houston, for me, they're going to be a stay away, because I do like some of the arms that they have. Uruguay, Christian Javier, the guy who's pitching in the second game of the series, he's pretty nasty. I like that guy a lot. And, Justin Verlander's old, but he's still not a guy that I'm, his ERA is like 1.4 or something like that, 1.7. He's come out hot. He's still not a guy that I'm looking to bet against consistently. Even if you are going to find some value against him, I just don't.
And he has to go against He has to go up against Matt Brash. I think his ERA is like my cat's weight, like a little bit around.
Yeah, right.
So I want nothing to do with Brash against Verlander.
Exactly. And Houston's probably going to be minus 250 or something in that game. You're not even going to get good value on the run line. So for me, Houston's going to be a stay away team. Seattle, at least early on, it looks like they were a team that I was expecting to come back to reality. That some of their numbers from last year, their win total versus their production, just didn't match up. Their record in one-run games, the number of comeback wins they had last year. So they're a team that I was looking to fade early on in the season. I got to tell you, I might be wrong about the Mariners. It's a long season. They may end up crashing as I expected them to at the beginning of the year, but just watching them play, watching some of their young players, they don't look like a bad team. I really think they're going to be a threat to win the West all season long. So, all right, Raphael, I can't let you out of here without giving the people something for free. You got a free play for me today?
I'm going to go with it. I said I'm not sold on the Astros at home, and I think Verlander wins at home, so there's probably a W right there. So I'm going to take Marco Gonzalez tonight on the road plus the money. I think he's plus 115. I even saw plus 120 earlier today. I haven't looked at an update. So I'm gonna go with that one. I'm gonna see if the Seattle can win 2 straight games. They won yesterday. Was it 7-2, something like that? Had a nice 5-run inning. So I'm gonna see if they can get back-to-back wins. Because again, I'm not sold on Houston at home. So I'm gonna see if I can get a Marco Gonzalez road victory. Let me get that crafty lefty to give me a road victory.
I like it. I like the value. I like the pick. All right, I'm gonna keep this one really simple, and I'm gonna take the under in the Arizona-Miami game. Pablo Lopez and Zach Gallen have been amazing early on in the season. Now, Pablo Lopez isn't going to have a 0.39 ERA throughout the entire season, but the guy's got a 6-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. So, and if you just watch him, if you've seen him pitch, there's absolutely nothing fluky about what he's doing. Same thing with Zach Gallen. Zach Gallen is an ace. He absolutely dominated the Dodgers in his last start out in Arizona. He gets no help from that lineup because Arizona can't hit at all. Miami doesn't exactly have a lot of punch in the middle of their lineup. I think both starters are going to dominate again. The total's 6.5, which is just about as low as totals go. it probably should have been 5.5 or 6, really, to be honest with you. So I think that there's still some meat on the bone. I expect Gallen and Lopez to both go at least 6 innings, dominate, and I can see like a 4-1, 3-1 type of game being played in Miami. So take the under there. So, all right. He's Raphael Esparza. I'm Robert Ferringo. We will be back Thursday to break down some of the weekend series with your MLB bonanza here. So, Raphael, thank you as always. And to everyone out there watching, Carpe Diem, and good luck.